Yeah, I'm now rolling through Imola, which someone of you may be familiar with. I don't know where the Imola racetrack is, but my plan is actually to visit another racetrack. So, a new day, a new chance. Thanks for checking in again. I'm just leaving the campsite in Caorle, and I'm glad you're with me. This should be my second video if the editing works out. And so all that's left for me to say is greetings to the girls and hello to the boys. Yeah, the nice thing about not reading the sat-nav probably is that you end up driving along the old harbor road in the Venice area, and I found a nice little, what's it called, snack bar. At least that's what it says on the back. I hope they make coffee too. Let's see if they do. I got coffee. It will be my first on Italian soil this time, and it can't be bad, even if it doesn't taste that good, but Italy is Italy. In terms of price, these coffee items are also at the top of the range. In Austria, they would probably cost 340 €4. Here, 180. Thank you, Italy. Now I'm going to do something that's not so common, or rather, something that's no longer fashionable. I'm going to light up a cigarette, or rather a cigarillo, and enjoy it with my coffee. Right, the coffee is finished. Now I'll just slip in my gloves. I've also put my jacket on the back because it's suddenly gotten quite warm, and the journey continues. It started again, and off we go. Yes, as I said, this first coffee was eaten, so to speak, and we continue south. Yeah, I'm now rolling through Imola, which someone of you may be familiar with. I don't know where the Imola racetrack is, but my plan is actually to visit another racetrack owned by a former Grand Prix rider with the start number 04. It's not too far away, only about 14 kilometers. And yeah, whether it's open or whether you can actually ride there and so on, I'll see all then when I get there. So much for Imola. If I had my racing Honda with me, without number plate, Imola might be a bit more interesting. But those days are now 25 years behind me, when I used to race in circles against the clock. So, the guy on the scooter over there, he's going really fast. He's riding in true Italian style. He's squeezing past everything, as you can see. Then it can't be far now. Well, Nafsat says 2.5 kilometers. Then hopefully we'll have a nice motocross track to see. There is written Campo Cross Montoquale with food anyway. Right. So that's what the approach looks like. The last 500 meters. I'll just let it run for now. I'm really excited to see what around next corner. Oh my god, that's nice. But is it open today? We'll find out. You don't even know where to ride. Where where you're allowed to ride, so to speak. In Grosso Pedok Mecanico entrance. Let's take a look there. Spectaculo. Technical inspection. Federale. Everything possible. So, now we have seen that for the first time. That's a cross-check. Awesome. The restaurant is back there. I'll just stand in the shade, turn off, and ask if I can get some information. Right, I just had a very nice chat with an Italian FIM official. And he said that it's not possible to ride at the moment. He asked a local who obviously works on the track or something. But he said I should ride up to the restaurant and have a coffee. And in principle, it's fine to ride there at the weekend. And I think I can see why you can't ride there right now, because the tractor is shaping the track, which I find extremely unpleasant for Saturday, of course. I'll probably have to stay there somewhere. Maybe on this side. That's what it looks like here. Here too, I enjoyed a coffee at the O4 ranch. And I had another nice chat with a young man here. I'll film in a little bit now. I hope you'll be able to see later, lightning permitting. This is the restaurant, so to speak. I'll take a quick look around and then I'll go outside and walk a bit along the track and take a look at the registration office. Yes, we can only dream of having something like that here. I don't know any of the tracks further west, but in the Vienna area, plus minus 100 kilometers, there's nothing comparable, I would like to say. Yeah, the steep slopes that remind me a little of Nursch, although you can only see that once you have ridden. Unfortunately, I can't ride during the week. They are currently preparing the track there. But it's possible at the weekend, and I'll come here on Saturday and do a few laps. I hope the moped can make it up there too. But if you take the weight off the luggage rack, it should be doable. Hopefully, I'll be able to ride it. You can always skip the jumps. It sounds to me like it's actually the registration hub. There's Austrian participation here too. We're not when it comes to motorsport. Thank you very much. Rest in peace. There is video observation, but it's probably not open yet. Stop. Access forbidden. You are not allowed to ride up. We will leave it at that for now. Even tough, we are in the land of the mafiosi. No offense, but still want to ride on Saturday. I wasn't allowed to go up there. Once again on the left there, when there are races, they check whether the oil drain plug is secure and there are no sharp edges, and the levers have the knob defined by the FIM and other madness from the FIM. That's the restaurant again. Now I'll ask if I can go up the side after all. Otherwise I'll go back to the moped and leave it at that. And I'll be back on Saturday. Scusi, can I walk up on the side to make a little? And moto is there, no riding. Grazie. Now I'm going to pan the camera. As I said, down there is the FIM building and restaurant. That's from the bike park, and there's Yamaha. And up there I wasn't allowed to go, but Yamaha is there too, or something else. The testing department, maybe they're testing the V4 there, the new Yamaha with Dovi, not very likely. We continue uphill. I don't know if you can see how steep it is, but it's quite strenuous. So now a little pan about half up the slope, uphill, up to, I'm already out of breath. I just hope the moped can handle it more easily on Saturday. Now I'm back on slightly flatter ground, as I said, with the same huts down there. Then you come up the slope with enough speed for a nice landing, otherwise it will probably compress the suspension quite a bit. Then another little table with momentum, it's easy, of course. Let's see. Up there, I think it's actually over again. It then goes to the left and down again over there. So now I've taken off my helmet that you can film over the fence. Maybe the sound is even worse than it is already, but as I said, you get up there, then and it seems to go down again, at least probably. There's obviously another sharp left turn up there that takes you into the inner part. There's another long 180-degree turn back there, and then it goes down again at the very back by the Yamaha banner. More on that later when I'm there. You come down from above. Unfortunately, you can't see much there except for green fields and the fence. You'd need a drone for that, which I don't have, don't know how to use, and would add extra weight. That's why I don't own and don't use them. Right, moving on. Maybe we'll see more at the next opportunity. Against the sun, there's the bend with the banners where it goes up again and little into the field and little into the infield. Then you can go down here, make a hack down there. And down there are two smaller tables, the second one being a little longer, but it doesn't look that difficult. And somewhere you get to exactly when you've ridden these two left hand bends down here, it goes up again back to this right hand bend. Then probably down again logically. As I said, you come down from the left from this infield, then there's a short table and then a slightly longer one, which I think is nice to land because it goes down quite a long way at the back. So you don't necessarily have to jump into the flat section at the back at full throttle in fourth gear. As I assume that my fork will survive that too, and then you go back up on the right hand side, and up there I think there was a right hand tag. I've updated my fork a little bit as much as it possible. I've increased the spring preload a little with washers, spacers in English. I want to avoid speaking English on this channel or on the German channel as much as possible, because there's far too much English spoken anyway. So I try to find the words in German, which is sometimes not so easy, because it's so anglicized. I don't know what it is called exactly. Unfortunately, I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to language. But as I said, yeah, and then I added a little more oil and a little thicker oil to the fork to perhaps delay the bottoming out a little. I don't want to say avoid it, but delay. Less air, it should compress more, so to speak, and thus bottom out later. So back towards the sun. I don't know if it will work, if it can be reworked, and above all, if I can and want to rework it. But anyway, we are almost done with the lap now, and we'll see what it looks like on board once we've completed the first lap. Straight ahead is the 2 times 90-degree corner, where it goes up the incline slope again, and then you cut over it. I think you can see the track. And to my right is the starting gate, where you get serious. I don't know which is the best position. I've never ridden a motocross race, but probably all the way to the right from where I'm standing now is the straightest way up. So that's it. That was the track from Mr. Dovi 04. Dovi Park, I don't know exactly what it is called, the park. It's an absolute eye-catcher, of course, and I'm really looking forward to doing a lap or two there. Now I'm going back to my moped and thinking about what else I can do between now and Saturday to make sure it works properly. No, joking aside. I just ride a few laps, more leisurely than fast, because if you go too fast, you'll run out of energy after one lap. And at least that's how it is for me. And experience has taught me that it's better to ride 70-80% of your own level. Then you can squeeze in a few laps and it's more fun in the end. And you can do the one qualifying lap at the end when you can't do any more anyway. Then you are nice and relaxed, miss the breaking points and have to lean in even more, but most of the time it still works out. Yes, that's it for now. And I'll leave it at that. See you again at my moped. By the way, while I'm at it, of course, the lightest long distance motorbike that can be built at the moment. There's nothing else like it in that respect. The Honda with 12-13 liters, the Rally, of course, is not comparable with the conversion kit. With an 18-liter tank capacity and that's significantly lighter. Screwed on a completely original Clix 250, and if the displacement doesn't fit, you can get 42 more cc or actually 43 cc because the original has 249 cc. And in Far East for just over €100. And yes, just a bigger injection nozzle and the thing works quite well. With the nozzle that the Chinese Ali from the Far East supplies. I don't know how much it costs, maybe 20 or 25 euros. You wait 2.5 or 3 weeks. It usually takes about as long as when you order something somewhere in Europe. It's not much faster either. And you just have to be able to hold a spanner and know how to open and close a screw. Then it works. Let the gentleman do the work. That wasn't very exciting, but I almost believe that this is a Yamaha country, but it doesn't matter. Back to coffee, I'll skip it this time, and now I'll turn around and say buongiorno. Oh no, arrivederci. My Italian is more good than bad. The other way around, of course. That's already starting to create problems somehow. Too warm. Earlier, somewhere down there was a temperature clock that actually read 32 degrees. I like that very much, because better warm than cold. Over the bridge, and there's the hot potato back there. Yes, my weight, well, my weight, while we are at it, it's around 71 kilos, I guess. What I've also weighted at some point is all the equipment you wear. That's including rain gear, 12.5 kilos from head to toe. More on that later in another video. So that's what my moped looks like. Yesterday I tried a shortcut, but then decided against it because it was really muddy for 300 meters and there were deep tractor tracks with lots of water in them. So actually I decided to turn back. That's how cowardly I am. Yeah, check it out here. Just type it, you should find it. Or just search for adventurecalyx250.com that you'll find more info. So now it's back to the slipstream. So that was a tour of the Dovi 04 range. No idea what you call it exactly, doesn't matter. I think the range is orange, I think it's basically yellow. But now I'm heading towards to the beach to find another campsite to spend the night. Quick shot, because it doesn't get much more Italian than this. With an ape. There was a Primavera down there earlier in beautiful blue with a cigarette exhaust. That's pure Italian, of course. Awesome. But we don't going to follow that one. And yes, that's all I have to say on this subject. Unfortunately, I'm also a Vespa addict, or rather, I'm cured hopefully. But all this madness started with racing in the early 90s. So much for that story. Today, I'll be checking out a few racetracks because I thought to myself, now that I've been at Dovi, I'll go to Misano Adriatico to see the Simoncelli racetrack. And maybe I can even camp there if there's a track day, as it's called in German, a practice run. Or if it just happens to be open by chance. If that doesn't work, then I'll of course stay at this campsite in this area again. And yes, theoretically it's only 1.6 kilometers anyway. Let's see if that works out. That would be really nice. Since I rode around there once 25 years ago, but unfortunately I still can't remember where the entrance was, I'll have to do a reconnaissance lap. But maybe they are already preparing for the Grand Prix. So, my plan to stand in a corner of the paddock at the racetrack isn't working out. Because, strangely enough, there's a bicycle event going on all weekend. But the nearest campsite is less than 3 kilometers away. I'll hit there now and see how much they want for a night. And if it's too much, I look for another one. There are about 4,000 in this area. Yeah, so much for that. It's a shame you can't get in there now, but on the other hand, it is what it is.